Howard, I'd love to start off just talking to you as a general overview and approach to this conversation about the American acting tradition. The craft of acting has evolved since the fervent years, as Harold Clurman calls them. What do you feel have been some of those changes from that time? And just to fill in a little bit for those of us who are not sure about this period in American acting, the fervent years, Harold Clurman is a writer and was involved in a part of the history of American acting at its birth and its genesis, really. And I use the word important accurately, I think. In the 1930s, in America, a group of forward-thinking creative artists got together and created what was to become known as the group. And some of the most important and forward-thinking seminal acting teachers and actors came out of this period. So just going back to that question, what do you feel have been some of those changes and evolutions?
Well, starting with the group, and even before really with Stanislavski. First of all, before Stanislavski there wasn't even acting training. You would apprentice to a company, usually out in the hinterlands, and work your way to Moscow, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So the actors would learn their craft by watching the greats work and learning from them directly, on-the-job training, really. Mm-hmm. But Stanislavski thought, I wonder if there's a way to teach this. And he was an actor himself. He used to practice, and then he would go to the greatest actors of his time and ask them, what are you doing that night? Night after night in that performance, you break down. What are you doing to cause that? Mm-hmm. And he started to wonder, I wonder if there's a way to put this together that could actually be taught. He was actually afraid to write the books because he was afraid people were going to say, that's the Bible. And Stanislavski evolved in his thinking from only sense memory to beginning to use imagination. Then you had Meisner, Adler, Strasberg, all taking Stanislavski's work and really running with aspects of it themselves. Hagen actually credited Clurman. Hagen learned the most from Harold Clurman. I feel very derivative of Hagen. She was a very close colleague, very close friend, and her work also was constantly evolving because what's evolved most is the audience. The audience has demanded a standard of realism, and the group theater was onto that, and then Kazan and all the things that came out of the group theater. And it's really interesting. If you go back and look at the movie of Streetcar Named Desire.
Is that the one with Brando?
Yes. Okay. Now, on Broadway, Jessica Tandy had played Blanche. When they went to do the movie, they replaced her with movie star Vivian Leigh at the time. All the group theater folk, Carl Malden, they were all upset about that because they loved Jessica Tandy and they wanted to work with her. They would improvise during rehearsal opposite Vivian Leigh, and no matter what they did, her performance did exactly the same. She got all the accolades when that movie was released, but if you look at it now, it's the only performance that doesn't hold up. You can see her posing, and you don't see that with the others at all.
Yes, and it has that kind of a brittle 1-2 dimension that stays within a very codified frame, even in a film.
Yep.
Even though filming is about framing technically, and as an actor we learn about that. But you're so right when you tease that out about her performance. There is, as we look at it now, there is a difference between the way in which she's working and the others around.
That's right. Okay. And that is what has changed. The audience today would not accept that performance. And so I believe we've got a very sophisticated audience out there. Ironically, the TV networks in America are just catching up to that idea. HBO and Showtime have been years ahead. A sitcom, Sex and the City, which is character driven and smart, you know, and not playing for the joke.
Yes.
So if we're going to do well, we have to realize the audience can tell fraud, they can tell fake.